ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यभिमः योगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ So here we are seeing this Mahavakya Tattvamasi from Panchadashit of chapter 1, because good description is there regarding the Tvampada and Tatpada, both. And we started that in verse 44. Of course, it starts with verse 43, but then verse 44 describes this Tatpada. Jagataha yatupadanam mayam adaya tamasim nimittam shuddha sattvantam uchyate brahma tadgira. Jagatah yad upadanam, Jagatah upadanam, upadana karanam. The upadan, the material cause of the universe is Ishvara, and that is how Ishvara creates. Well, mayam adaya tamasim, tamasim mayam adaya. Adaya means as such taking, and it should be told even associating. But this all is just a word, really speaking. It is not that Maya is independent and then Brahman and then they got associated. It's nothing. Maya is non-separate from the Parmeshwara, and therefore, all the time Parmeshwara is associated with the three powers, or this one power called Maya, let's say. Anyway, so still it has been told like this: Maya Madaya, Tamasim Maya Madaya, he becomes Upadana Karanam. So Brahman, along with this tamas aspect of the Maya, so Brahman plus TP is equal to Ishvara. TP. Now I will use this TP. TP means Tamo Pradhan Prakriti. P means Prakriti and T means Tamas. So Brahman plus TP is equal to Ishvara, but that is material cause. And then Nimittam Shuddha Sattvam Tam Uchyate Brahma Tadgira. Shuddha Sattvam Shuddha Sattvam Mayam Adaya. Brahman is called Shuddha Sattvam, Vishuddha Sattvam. So Sattva aspect of the Maya, is when Brahman plus SP is equal to also Ishvara. Then Ishvara is Brahman plus TP and Brahman plus SP. So in short, Ishvara is nothing but Brahman plus SP plus RP is equal to Ishvara, and that is equal to Tatpada Vachyartha. Ishvara is a material cause and the efficient cause of the creation, or as such we call creator, and then automatically implies everything. Brahman is Ishvara. Ishvara is Sarvajna, Sarvashaktiman, Karmaphaladata, Antaryami. All you have to include in that. And so this verse 44 clearly indicates the direct meaning of the Tatpada from our equation called Tattvamasi. So then verse 45 says, Yada malina sattvantam kama karmadi dushitam आदत्ते तत् परम ब्रह्म त्वं पदेन तदोच्यते काम कर्मादि दूषितां मलिन सत्वां तां मायां आदाय ब्रह्म becomes a jiva. And it is very understandable why. So Swamiji, why malin sattva you call it as a rajas aspect only? Because that is the only one makes jiva. That's the only one. See, why? How the Brahman is jiva? Without sukshma sharira, jiva is impossible. Sukshma sharira is not there. Where is jiva? So merely gross body doesn't make jiva. That's how everything is gross body. All tamas aspect of the maya. That is, but no, nothing is jiva. Jiva is due to sukshma sharira. And sukshma sharira has only two things. Sattva pradhana prakriti and rajas pradhana prakriti. Right? Some of the components of the subtle body are made from the sattva aspect of all the elements. And some of the components are made of a rajas aspect of all the elements. Only two things are there. So sattva and rajas both are there. Swamiji, where is it? I have given you the chart. You can see in the chart. Right? In the mind and the senses are made of sattva aspect of all elements or sattva aspect of maya. And the organ of action and the pranas etc. are made up of rajas aspect of the maya. So sukshma sharira is just two aspects. Sattva rajas, malin sattva. And if sukshma sharira is not there, where is jiva? And therefore jiva is basically malina sattva. Correct? So could you follow what I am saying? If gross body is this tamas aspect of the maya. So we should not consider that is okay. Somebody asked me question, that's a nice question. Well, how can you say Swamiji malin sattva, etc. And Swamiji tamo guna also is that, that's there. But basically jiva is, Brahman appears as a jiva is due to sukshma sharira, definitely. And that sukshma sharira is nothing but sattva plus rajas. So that way I say it is malin sattva. And it is kama karmadi dushitam. That way also you can consider avidya will be there, definitely avidya, and then kama will be there, karma will be there. That is how jiva jiva appears. Otherwise, how can jiva appear? The appearance of the jiva itself proves that these three things are there. Avidya, kama and karma. Definitely it gets a gross body. Jiva gets a gross body depending upon one's own karma and kama. But then basically jiva, appearance of the jiva itself requires these three things. Avidya should be there and kama, karma definitely. So it is dushita. Malina sattvam dushita. Kama karma dushita. And here kama karma means you can consider everything. Kama karma adi. Vidyaranya Swami says adi also. What is adi? Adi means everything you can consider this. Karma phala also. Because avidya is there, then kama and karma is there. Then adi padat what? Karma phala. Definitely. So you can consider karma phalam, that is sanchita, agami, prarabdha, everything. So Brahman is contaminated as though through this malina sattva, which is nothing but the rajas, rajo pradhan. So Brahman plus RP is equal to jiva, we can say, is equal to tvam pada vachyartha, direct meaning of the tvam pada. So from tat and tvam, now in equation tattvamasi, we have got now clear direct meanings of both the pada, tat pada and tvam pada. Tat pada is Ishvara, which is avinna nimitta upadana karanam. Nimitta karanam plus upadana karanam. And Sarveshwara, I mean Sarvagnya, Sarvashaktiman, etc. will also be included. Swamiji, how can you include all this? Nimitta karanam requires this. Nimitta karanam is the nimitta karanam when you say it has three things: Ichha Shakti, Jnana Shakti and Kriya Shakti. One who possesses these three Shakti, Ichha Shakti. So he only has a desire to manifest all these jiva. And so Brahman alone manifests as, of course, as universe and as jiva. But then he has a desire. And then definitely, and he gives different types of bodies and he creates the universe for the jivas and everything. It's all need when he manifests and everything or creates this creation. Definitely he should have a knowledge also. And he must be sarvasya, sarvasya karta sarvagnya. And he creates everything. Means that he is sarvagnya. Gatasya karta gatagnya. Right? One who makes a pot, he definitely has knowledge of pot. Then he makes everything, then he has knowledge of everything. So he's all knowledge, Sarvagnya. And he is Sarva Shakti also. Knowledge is there, of course, but then he should have a power to to create. So mere knowledge does not bring creation. There are people who have a lot of knowledge, but they cannot create because they don't have a power. And some people have a power to create, skills rather, but no knowledge. Then definitely will not. Both are required. And he being a Nimet, Karanam being Upadan, Karanam, he alone he is a Sarvajna and he is a Sarvashaktiman. Well, so this is Ishvara. Brahman plus SP plus TP. And Brahman plus RP is this Jiva. We call it Karyam Brahma also. You can call that way. Brahman plus, what is that? Brahman plus SP plus TP is equal to Ishvara, is equal to Karanam Brahma. This you should remember. These words will come often in the Shastra. Karanam Brahma. Abhinna Nimittopadana Karanam. So they even sometimes called Karanam Brahma. And Brahman plus RP is equal to Jiva, which is called Karyam Brahma. But Swamiji, Brahman plus TP as such is universe. Then universe, but he is a cause of the universe. He is a material cause of the universe. So that's how we say Karanam Brahma. In fact, if you just refer to universe as such, well, we call it as a Karyam Brahma also. Anyway, so this is how. So see, same issue, same Brahman. Well, he gets associated with this Malina Sattva Prakriti, then he becomes Dasa. And when same Brahman associated with Tamas aspect and the Sattva aspect of the, of the Maya or Prakriti, he becomes Ishvara. Same Brahman. One becomes Ishvara and one becomes Jiva. See, this is how one takes two forms, two Vesha. And that is how he has become a Dasa. And Ishvara is a Swami. Same Brahman. One becomes Swami, one becomes Dasa. So Advaitins write Soham. They always write Soham. Taking Lakshyartha, Saha Aham. That Ishvara which is the Jagat Karanam is Aham. Jiva says, taking Lakshyartha. What is Lakshyartha? I have kept aside that Prakriti, which makes a difference between these two. Through that Prakriti only there is a difference between Ishvara and Jiva. Otherwise both are Brahman alone. So RP, if I remove RP, SP, TP, etc. and then both side only Brahman. That's the essence. How can you remove? What kind of a strength you have to remove? You can't remove anything. Yeah, I know. Okay, but let me first talk. So, therefore, Advaiti writes Soham, keeping Lakshyartha in the mind. And Visishta Dvaitin and Dvaitin, they also keep this Soham. That's a Vakya for everyone. But then he cannot tolerate. Soham he cannot tolerate. Because that is this. It has to be told. That is I. That Jagat Karan Brahma, that Ishvara is Aham. So Vishishtadvaitin and Dvaitin keeping Vachyartha in the mind. Means if to keep Vachyartha, you will have to keep this. What? Prakriti. You have to keep as it is. Then only it makes a difference. So Brahman plus RP is a Dasa. And Brahman plus SP plus TP is a Swami, Ishvara. So what they do is, when we write Soham, they come, quietly they come. And they write Da in front of that. So Dasoham, right? Dasoham. Then he goes. Then Advaitin comes. And then he says this. He understood. Kiska Karasthan hai, unko malum hai. So he knows who writes this. So no problem. We should not rub anything. So he put one more Sa. Sada Soham. Then again that fellow comes. Vishishtadvaiti. What is this? So he writes another Da. Dasa Dasoham. Then again Advaitin comes. Then he writes another Sa in front. So Sada Soham. Could you follow what I am saying? If you write yourself, you will find that's a big. So this is how the fight goes on. Soham, it started with Soham for Advaitin as keeping Lakshyartha in the mind, and then keeping Vachyartha in the mind, this Vishishtadvaitin write Da. So Da Soham. Then we write another Sa keeping Lakshyartha in the mind, Sada Soham. Then he comes, then Da Sada Soham. Then we again come Sa, write Sa, Sada Soham. Then this goes on and on. He writes Da, we write Sa. He writes Da, we write Sa. So he says Dasa, 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 Dasoham. We say Sada, 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 Soham. Sada means what, Swamiji? What Sada? Sada means all the time. Even in the state of ignorance, sir, you and Ishvara are one alone. This is the declaration of the Veda. You and Ishvara are one alone. In a state of depression, I am Ishvara. In a state of jealousy, I am Ishvara. In a state of ignorance, I am Ishvara. In a state of taking birth and death, I am Ishvara. Sada. All the time. All the places. Always. Sada. Anyway, then Advaita is very smart. He thought I should take this Vishishtadvaiti and Dvaitin into my fold. How will you take? So he write a beautiful verse. And so then Vishishtadvaitin cannot say anything against that. What he says? Deha buddhya tu dasoham jiva buddhya tvadamshakah atma buddhya tvameva aham iti me nishchita matihi. This is my ascertained knowledge. Nishchita matihi. This is my resolve. What? Deha buddhya tu dasoham. If I consider this Deha as Atma, well, I am your Dasa. Jiva buddhya tu amshakaha. If I consider Jiva as myself, as I, as Atma, then I am your Amsha, naturally. Jiva is nothing but the reflected consciousness, right? Any reflection is a Amsha of the original. So, Jiva buddhya tvad amshakaha. Tvat means tava here. Tvad amshakaha Jiva buddhya. So from the Jiva Buddhi, I am a part of you. Fine. Atma Buddhya Tvameva Aham. Well, really from the Sachidananda standpoint, if that is the Atma, that is the reality, well, Tvameva Aham. And so you and me have no difference from the Sachidananda standpoint. Iti me nishchita matihi. This is how we have taken into fold. Om Swamiji. Jiva, this Vishishtadvaitin or Dvaitin? Both. Dvaitin says Jiva is a Dasa of Ishvara. Vishishtadvaitin says Jiva is a Amsha of a Ishvara, Narayana. And Advaitin says, well, there is no difference between me and Ishvara. Oneness. Could you follow? So, from the Dvaitin aspect, Jiva is a Dasa of a Ishvara. And from Vishishtadvaitin standpoint, it is Amsha of a Ishvara. They always call Ishvara as a Amshi and Jiva as a Amsha. Even Jagat also they call it as a Amsha. And that way they say Jiva and Jagat both are non-separate from Ishvara. They also say like that. Understand? Because any Amsha is a non-separate from Amshi. Pennsylvania is a Amsha. America is a Amshi. Total. Pennsylvania is non-separate from America. Right? It's a United States. So all the states are united together to form a country. Well, so any state is a part of the country. And therefore all the time non-separate. Anyway, so this is how. But anyway, Atma Buddhya Tvameva Aham. No problem. We don't have any problem. So if I consider from the Vyavaharic standpoint and I tell this body as myself, no problem. I am a Dasa of Parameshwara. And if I take from the Vyavaharic standpoint just as a Jiva, as nothing but this reflected consciousness, I am reflected consciousness. Oh, no problem. Then I am, I am part of the Ishvara. And well, But from the Paramathic standpoint, from the reality standpoint, well, myself and Sachidananda Atma is no difference. There is one limitless Atma. There is nothing other than that. Once you say limitless, it covers everything. And therefore, really there is no difference between me and Brahman. So, Soham is from the standpoint of this Laksha, from the Lakshana. And that too, you know very well, Bhagatyag Lakshana. They don't do this Bhagatyag Lakshana. They keep Vachyartha as it is. So, then Brahman with this Prakriti, whatever, I mean, Vishuddha Sattva Prakriti or SP or even TP, from the Tamas Prakriti, etc. Tamo Amsha of Prakriti. Well, considering this Prakriti as a real, they say Ishvara also is a real, and Jiva, of course, as a Brahman with this Rajoguna Prakriti, of course, that is a Jiva, that also is real. So Jiva and Ishvara both are real. That is the Vachyartha. But for them, Vachyartha is the reality. For us, Vachyartha is from the Vivaric standpoint. From the reality standpoint, from Paramathic standpoint, really there is no difference between Jiva and Ishvara, because Prakriti or Maya is Mithya, which is non-separate and which is Mithya, and therefore you can remove from both the sides, right? So, Jiva and Ishvara, if you want to equate, from Jiva is nothing but this Brahman plus RP, Ishvara is nothing but Brahman plus RP, SP plus TP, but this P is Mithya. P is Mithya, and therefore you remove the SP plus RP plus TP, you remove. All the three you remove. It is non-separate. Being Mithya, but why do you want to remove? Let it, the Mithya be a, sir, Mithya does not add anything, Mithya cannot subtract anything. So better you remove. Any name and form cannot add anything to the substance. That we should know. Any name and form cannot add anything to substance. Therefore, it should be removed. Then both sides Brahman only will remain. That is how Tattvamasi is, we can achieve that Tattvamasi equation, we can understand. So that is what it has been told. So Brahman is Tvam Padena Tada Uchyate, means in the verse 45 it says, Brahman is called this Jiva, this Tvam Padena. So that is the direct meaning, Vachyartha of the Tvam Pada. And then verse 46 says, Tritaim api tam muktva paraspara virodhinim akhandam satchidanandam mahavakyena lakshate. Tritaim means sattva-rajas tamah pradhana prakriti is there. Tam muktva, vihaya, having given up, abandoned these three prakritis, then, because that is the one which, paraspara virodhinim. This prakriti was making this Brahman paraspara virodhini with utkrishta guna and nikrishta guna. Exalted attributes. Yeah, that's due to what? That's due to Upadhi, this Prakriti. Brahman plus this tamas aspect of the Prakriti becomes the material cause of the entire universe. It's an exalted thing. And Brahman plus Vishuddha Sattva Prakriti, well, it becomes the efficient cause, Nimitta Karanam, by which Brahman is called Sarvagna, Sarvashaktiman, Karmaphala Data, etc. Antaryami. Very exalted attributes. So, but then attributes are there, then Brahman plus attributes, then Brahman becomes along with the attributes. Sir, attributes belongs to Upadhi, remains to Upadhi. They can never touch to Brahman. Why it cannot touch? Asangoyam Purusha. Brahman is Asanga, and therefore nothing can touch. Brahman's nature of Brahman is such that nothing can stay there. But how can you say? How do you have that kind of experience? Yes, sir, it is your experience and my experience also. Yeah, you just take your three states and you will realize all the three states are non-separate from the Brahman. All the three states are ahankaras are non-separate from Brahman. But when it goes to the next stage, nothing comes. From Jagrat you go to Swapna, nothing comes from the Jagrat world. From Jagrat world, no iota can come. And from when it goes to sleep, nothing can come. And in deep sleep, you do not have any attributes. Don't have any attributes at all, really speaking. Anyway, so Brahman is Asanga. It cannot take any attributes. It is not even it is not a substantive. Substantive is the one which holds the attributes, which becomes a adhara for attributes. It is not. And this Brahman with Rajoguna Pradhana Prakriti RP, well, it has Nikrishta Gunas. Kama Karmadi Dushitam, it has been told clearly. So, and Ishvara is free from Kama Karma, etc. Avidya Kama Karma. Ishvara is Sarvagnya. And he is Avidya Kama Karma, Jiva, etc. So, if you keep the attributes, you cannot equate. So, Paraspara Virodhinim, one is Karma Phala Data, one is Karma Phala Beggar. One is a Karma Phala Data, other is keeping the head. That's how daily he goes to temple. Daily, till he will get clearance through the interview. He will go. Otherwise, he never goes to temple. But these days he will go. Definitely, before getting a job. Once the job is done, he gets a job, he will forget. Then before marriage, he will go. And that's how he keeps going. So, what I am saying, one is a beggar of Karma Phala and one is Karma Phala Data. One is Sarvagnya, Alpagnya, Sarvashaktiman, Alpashaktiman. Paraspara Virodhini, Tritaim. That is this Upadhi alone. Otherwise, both the side Brahman is there. So, Tritaim Tam Muktva Vihaya Paraspara Vinodhinim Prakritim Muktva Akhandam Sachidanandam Brahma Mahavakyena Lakshite. And therefore, Akhandam Na vidyate khandaha yasmin saha akhandaha. So, na vidyate khandaha yasmin. This is Bahuri Samasa. Na vidyate khandaha, vikalpa. So, there is division. No division, no vikalpa between Jiva and Ishvara. All due to Upadhi. And the division of in the Upadhi are in the Upadhi. They cannot be in the Brahman. And therefore, Brahman is, even under the state of ignorance, is Akhandam Brahma. There are no vikalpas at all, no division at all, no dvaitam at all. It's non-dual. Satchidanandam lakshate, the Satchidananda Atma is revealed, lakshate. So we will have to say lakshate means lakshanaya uchyate. Lakshate is equal to lakshanaya uchyate. Lakshanaya, with the help of lakshana, you will have to do lakshana. Otherwise, if you don't do lakshana, you cannot equate, because Brahman appears through Upadhi as Sarvagna, Sarvashaktiman, etc. Here Brahman appears as a beggar of a Karma Phala or Alpagnya, Alpashaktiman, and therefore cannot be equated. If you want to equate in a Mahavakya, you will have to do Lakshana. That is, which Lakshana I have told you? That is Bhaga, Tyaga, Lakshana. Bhaga, Tyaga. Remove portion from both. Never do Jahati Lakshana. It is a throwing baby along with the bath water. Don't do that. Jahati, Ishvara. The direct meaning of Ishvara is all these three. Brahman plus SP plus TP. ये RP कहाँ से आ जाता है पता है. So Brahman plus SP plus TP. That is Ishvara. You have to retain something from the direct meaning. Bhagasya Tyaga. Only a portion of it has to be removed. And that is, remove that which is mithya. Remove that which, addition of which does not make any difference. Then remove it. Remove it. Yeah. I have told you 100 gram gold plus bangles and rings and everything, names and forms, is equal to 100 gram gold. Then better remove it. That's what it says. Addition, eva, addition. Puja Swamiji's word. Addition, eva, addition. As though addition. So as though addition, then we don't want. Make the equation simple. Remove that. Swamiji, what to remove? This Maya is really, Swamiji, is something. That's correct. That is very much correct. But at least in equation we can remove. That is what is required. What is mithya is removed. And therefore, Lakshanaya uchyate. Jahati Lakshana, if you do, means you have to give a total direct meaning. We have seen that. So then the Ishvara's direct meaning is OC, that original consciousness, Brahman plus RP and SP and TP, both. Everything if you have to remove. Then even Brahman also goes away if you remove that. So don't do Jahati Lakshana, Bhagatyaga, from the direct meaning. A portion of it has been removed. Now very beautifully says how we can understand this, equation, the oneness. For that they give an example, and which is very popular in Vedanta. See, verse 47 says, Soyam ityadi vakyeshu virodhat tadidantayoho tyagena bhagayoho ekaha ashrayo lakshate yatha. So imagine there are three friends studying in a school. Three students studying in one particular class in a school, in a middle school. And after they were there for for 2 years together in the middle school, and then all the three got separated. One's father got transferred in some other city, and so he went. The one other boy, he went to other school. He took admission in another school. So all the three got separated. But out of these three, one was very, very socially active. So he used to keep in touch with both these through WhatsApp. These other two were not keeping in touch with each other. And this boy grew up, all the three grew up, and they got married and all this. But this one of that, used to remain in touch with both. Then they married, and then the children and everything. And sometime either one of this friend, now we should say, one of them used to go to his place also. He used to invite, so they go also. But these two have not met to each other almost for 50 years. And then he thought, now let's have a celebration in which he wanted to invite his old friend, school days friend. So he invited both of them. Both he invited. They are meeting after 50 years to this person's place. After 50 years. And then when this person introduced, he is Devadatta. I'm giving you name. Devadatta means any Tom, Dick and Harry. That's what it means. Because these people, our Shastra people have these kind of names only. Yajnadatta, Devadatta, Vishnadatta, Somadatta. What can they do? In India, many people have the name. Behind that, they put Prasada. Hanuman Prasad, Rama Prasad, Sita Prasad, all Prasad. Because ultimately it is a gift of the Lord. So people, they give names like this. Prasad, Hanuman Prasad, etc. etc. Anyway, what is here? Devena Dattaha, Devadattaha. Devena Dattaha. Ishvara has given them. So that's how the child's name is Devadatta. So he says, do you know him? He is Devadatta, our good old friend of the school days. And this person was seeing him. And seeing him. And, oh, this is Vedanta. What is this? What happened is, now when he was seeing him, he went to the school days before 50 years and he remembered that boy. That time he was having Taddesha, Tatkala, Tad Vishishta Devadattaha. He went there. He was a boy, was having a curly hair and dark hair and a fair skin and this and that and everything. With all attributes it has come to the mind. Now that Devadatta is this Devadatta. Saha Ayam. Now this Etad Desha, Etad Kala, Etad Vishishta Devadatta. Entirely different. Hair has gone, skin has become black, all the black portion here, everything. Even some of the teeth also has gone. And there are wrinkles also, because he did not hide. So all wrinkles were there. Everything was there. And that Devadatta was free from wrinkles, curly hair and full of thick hairs. And fair skin and very, very thin. This Devadatta has become a 90 kg first heavy guy. So if he wants to recognize that Devadatta and this Devadatta, what should be done? I am asking you. Should he keep the attributes? If he keeps the attributes, they are all contradictory. that Devadatta was very thin. That Devadatta's skin was different. That Devadatta had no wrinkles. That Devadatta had no specs. That Devadatta was full of hair and black hair. This Devadatta is full of white hair. He has spectacles. His skin has different. He has wrinkles. And he is a hefty fellow. All different attributes. Contradictory attributes. To recognize, he has to keep aside attributes from both the sides. He has to see merely the person, free from the attributes. Then he can say, oh, what is that? Oh, is nothing but understanding of Mahavakya. Oneness between the two. One person behind these two kinds of attributes. That Devadatta was 12-year-old. This Devadatta is 60-year-old. 62, 50 years, after 50 years they are meeting. So, Etat Desha, he is right now here. That Devadatta was where? In the school. This Devadatta is in friend's place. So, Desha is different. Tat Desha, Etat Desha, different. Tat Kala, Etat Kala. That time he was 12-year-old. He is now 62-year-old. At least he was a child and he is a man with, he has become a full man now. And then Tad Vishishta, Etad Vishishta, different. Attributes also are different. He has to leave aside that. Then only this equation is possible. Which equation? Saha Ayam. Saha Ayam. Ayam means this. Saha means that. That means of school days wala. The school days wala is this Devadatta. Both are equal. So this is how it is. Etat desha, etat kala, etat dharma vishishtah, and tad desha, tad kala, tad dharma vishishtah. That is saha. And etat ayam means etat desha, etat kala, etat dharma vishishtah. Saha ayam. Well, then he has to keep aside the attributes, because the attributes are different. If he keeps the attributes, cannot be equated. Saha cannot become ayam. So this is the way it is possible. So that is been told here. Soyam ityadi vakyeshu, soyam devadatta ityadi vakyeshu, virodhat. Definitely there is a virodhat, there is a contradiction. Tad idam tayoho, tadidam tayoho virodhat. That is tad, this is iyam, ayam. So tadidam, idam means ayam here. So tayoho virodhat, between them there is a virodha. Then what should I do? Tyagena, tyaga karo, remove what? Bhagayoho, bhagayoho tyaga. So virodha bhagayoho tyaga. Remove the portion which are contradictory. What are the portions which are contradictory? Well, you remove the hair because he doesn't have. So you remember that person who was having a big, black hair, etc. Remove that immediately. Well, then he has wrinkles. He was not having wrinkles. Remove the wrinkles. Remove the hair from both the sides. Here, of course, he has no hair, but then think that he was having some white hair. Let's imagine that way. So remove the white hair and then black hair. Remove the wrinkles from here and the weight, etc. also remove. Just see the person between them. Try. That's how people used to see. Swami, do you recognize him? Then Swami, along with the keeping big eyes, seeing him. He's trying to recognize the person. Please understand. Keeping aside the attributes which are there, which are very which are appear in his front. That is how it has been told in our what is that? Dakshinamurti Stotra. Balyadishvapi jagradadishu tatha sarvasu avasthasvapi vyavruttasu anuvartamanam ahamityantam sada. Balyadishvapi jagradadishu tatha. Balyavastha, yuvavastha, etc. Jagradavastha, sapnavastha, sushuptavastha. Balyadishvapi jagradadishu tatha. Sarvasu avasthasu, vyavrittasu. In that avasthas, if you remove, there is I which is constantly there. Now the I which was there in the Balyavastha is the same I right now, even though the entire body has changed. Entire gross body has changed, completely changed. All the cells of that past has gone. In fact, even the Sukshma body has changed. At that time, whatever my impressions and my likes and dislikes were there, now different likes and dislikes are there. At that time, whatever my memory, etc. was there, right now, it has either increased or decreased, whatever it may be. So, same I continues in this all the avasthas. Or in a single day, after 24 hours, Jagra, Sapna, Shushupti, same I. The one who says I was awake, he says now I am dreaming, or he says now I sleep, or I got up from the sleep when he gets up. So same I continues in various avasthas. So means the I with the attributes from that is waker. I with the attributes is a dreamer. I with the attributes is a deep sleeper. Remove those attributes. Attributes do not belong to I. Attributes belong to Upadhi. Right? Attributes belong to Upadhi. Remove them. Then you find the same I is a adhishthanam of all the avasthas, or same I is a adhishthanam of Balyavastha and Yuvavastha, etc., etc. So this is the very I that is Sakshi of even the Ahankara called waker, dreamer, deep sleeper is all the time there, which is Asanga, and it can take any form, it can take any attributes. It can take any attributes without undergoing any change. The Sakshi Chaitanya is very Asanga. So this is how it has to be understood. So Bhagayogo Tyagena Ekaha Ashrayah. Ekaha Ashrayah, Ekashrayah means Eka Purusha. One Purusha, one Sakshi Chaitanyam. Lakshate Yatha. Lakshate Yatha. I mean here Eka Purusha means the person in that our example. Or even in Balyadishvapi, if you take that example, Ekaha Atma Lakshate, you can say the one Sakshi Chaitanya is there. Lakshate, Lakshanaya Uchyate. You have to do that. So that's how it has been told. Bhagayoho Tyagena. If you keep the attributes, well, it cannot. Dreamer is never a sleeper, and sleeper is not a waker. If you want that one Sakshi Chaitanya is there in all the three states, you have to remove something. Remove the attributes. What attribute will I remove? Remove the subtle body. That's enough. Don't do anything else. But should I remove gross body or not? Need not. Need not, sir. Only remove your mind. I don't want to remove your mind. People will call me mindless. Or no, don't do that. Basically, it's a mithya. On Sakshi, the whole ahankara and the mind and everything is projected through Maya. Maya alone projects. Wherever name form comes, bring Maya. Maya projects everything. Maya is equal to name and form. Maya is name and form? Yeah, Maya is name and form. No, Swamiji, I don't agree with you. See, Maya is unmanifest name and form. And that universe is manifest name and form. So, same thing. Universe is manifest name and form. Maya is unmanifest. That's why I told you. So, when the universe resolves means what? Name and form resolves means what? Becomes unmanifest. That's become Maya. And then Maya manifest means what? Universe. Name and form manifest. Same thing. So only projection of Maya. That's how name and form has no substantiality. Like any name and form on the gold is basically kalpita. Kalpita. It is merely kalpana. Of course, we call that kalpana as a vyavarik satyam, etc. because it's available for a transaction. So we give a certain reality. And because of the transaction, you have certain usefulness, etc. We say it has some reality. Because it goes always like this, Any transactable thing goes and has a reality, goes always together. Anything which is useful is real for me, Swamiji. If anything is unreal, they say like this, doing like this. If anything is unreal, then I cannot use it. But I can use it, and therefore it is true. Okay, keep it truth, but that's not ultimate truth. That's merely, we call it as a transactable reality, Vyavaharik Satyam. Lakshya lakshanaya laksham lakshanaya uchyate. Lakshate means laksham. That Eka Purusha is a lakshya. In that Soyam Devadatta, Eka Purusha, only one person. Here, Sakshi Chaitanyam is a lakshya, or Atma is a lakshya, or Brahman is a lakshya. Lakshanaya, Bhagatyaga, Lakshanaya Uchyate. This is how it is. So, Maya Vidya Vihaya, then verse 48 says, Maya Vidya Vihaya evam upadi parajivayoho akhandam satchidanandam parabrahmaiva lakshate. So, verse 47 was giving an example. And therefore, now in verse 48, they say this regarding this, in Vedanta we use it Mahavakya, in that also, Maya avidya vihaya evam upadi. Upadi is a dvivachanam. So, evam upadi maya vidya evam maya vidya upadi vihaya. So, this upadi, which is limiting agent, or through which they appear different. That's all. Appear different. Like a red flower and a green flower, or a yellow flower. The same crystal appears differently. So, upadi is something by which the single crystal even looks different, like a yellow crystal and red crystal. So, yellow crystal and red crystals are actually one crystal alone, but through the upadi they appear differently. So, upadi vihaya, maya, and which was upadi? Avidya. Maya means this, which our SP and TP. And avidya is what? Our RP. That is how it is. So, parajivayoho upadi vihaya. Paramatma. Jivatma. Paramatma and Jivatma has this upadi. Ishvara and Jiva has this upadi. That's how you say Jiva is not Ishvara or Ishvara is not a Jiva. But that's due to upadi, and that upadi is one's upadi is Maya, another upadi is avidya. That is how they were looking different. But the vihaya, if you give it up, akhandam sachidanandam parabrahmaiva lakshate. That sachidanandam Brahma alone is lakshate, lakshanaya uchyate. This is how we have to understand this. Anyway, so this is regarding Tattvamasi Mahavakya. And now if you see in our Tattvabodha, that's how they say evam cha, before that. Yeah. So, स्थूल सूक्ष्म शरीर अभिमानी त्वं पद वाच्यार्थः उपाधि विनिर्मुक्तम समाधि दशा संपन्नम शुद्धम चैतन्यम त्वं पद लक्ष्यार्थः. So now we need not have to go again. स्थूल सूक्ष्म शरीर अभिमानी त्वं पद वाच्यार्थः उपाधि विनिर्मुक्तम. If you remove the upadhi, samadhi disha sampanna, and which is available also in the moments of joy, etc., which is available in the deep sleep state, well, shuddha chaitanyam tvam pada lakshyartha. Then tatpada also has been told evam sarvagnyattvadi vishishta ishvarah tatpada vacyarthah upadhi shunyam shuddha chaitanyam tatpada lakshyartha. So similarly, the immediate meaning of the word tat, that is the Lord, the one who is endowed with this knowledge, etc., sarvagnyattvadi. So sarva shaktiman, etc., I will have to consider that way. So the implied meaning of the word tat is pure consciousness, and implied meaning of Ishvara is the Lord, sarvagnya, sarva shaktiman, etc. And karanam, jagat karanam, both the karanams, material cause and efficient cause. Evam cha जीवेश्वरयोः चैतन्य रूपेण अभेदे बाधक अभावः. It has been said here. Evam cha जीवेश्वर. This is from this we have to see. So evam cha, and thus between Jiva and Ishvara, that is individual and the total, really there is no difference. जीवेश्वरयोः चैतन्य रूपेण अभेदे. Chaitanya रूपेण. Both the side that Chaitanya is a common. There is abheda. There is oneness with respect to, in the form of consciousness, there is oneness. So here consciousness plus SP plus TP, here consciousness plus RP, well, that is mithya, and so if you remove that, There is consciousness on both the sides. So there is oneness with respect to consciousness. And abhede, badhak abhavaha, then this, no one can negate this. What? Oneness. If you remove the upadhi, if you keep the upadhi, well, you cannot arrive at the oneness. After removing the upadhi, which is mithya, that is nothing but the maya, and which is non-separate from Brahman, if you remove that, well, there is oneness. So you can understand now how the Brahman with the maya, that's all. Only thing is this. Ishvara alone is there. And with the tamas aspect and sattva aspect, he becomes both material cause and the efficient cause of the universe. So he alone manifests in the form of the universe. And Brahman with this rajas aspect of the maya becomes jiva. And this is how Jeev, Jagat and Ishwar, three things are formed by maya on Brahman. Right? Brahman plus maya becomes the Karan, Ishvara. And he alone is a material cause, and therefore he alone manifests in the form of Jagat. And therefore Jagat and Ishvara, and then with the rajas aspect of the maya, Jiva is formed. So one maya, well, it makes an appearance of Jeev, Jagat and Ishvara with the help, one maya creates this division. On what? On Brahman. One Brahman alone. Either you say Jagat, well, that is Brahman. Either you say Jiva, that is Brahman. Either you say Ishvara, that is Brahman. And therefore, Jeev, Jagat and Ishvara, all are created by one maya. That's all. This is not inexplicable, but this is a power Ishvara has. The Brahman has this power, and that is Anadi. And so he keeps on doing this three Vesha, all the time. Jeev, Jagat and Ishvara. Jeev, Jagat and Ishvara. Then Jagat and Jiva resolves into Ishvara. That becomes Maya. That's all. Could you follow what I am saying now? Jiva and Jagat both resolve into Maya. Manifest becomes unmanifest. So in Brahman with Maya, Ishvara is there in Pralaya. And then, well, due to Jiva's karma, again manifest. In the form of universe, in the form of Jiva. Then again goes on. Then gets tired. Then, okay, aa jao, chalo, so jao. So फिर calling. Brahman has to do this. So Ishvara does something. Brahman cannot do. So Brahman with Maya, of course, does this. This is how it's going on. That's the one thing alone. That's called non-duality. That there is no difference between Jeev, Jagat and Ishvara. What differences are there? They are at the level of Upadhi. Upadhi has the differences. But through Upadhi, the differences are looked upon on Brahman, which is not real. So this is how we should understand. So all this Upadhi, Dharma, the attribute, etc., the status of the Upadhi belong to Upadhi. Its Dharma is not the Dharma of the Vastu or a Brahman. Anyway, so there is one, so here oneness does not mean, in terms of things are equal, etc. Here there is one thing alone. So either Puja Swamiji tells sometime that, like two desks, etc. are there. Then they are also similar. They are similar, of course, but there is not one. So we may sometimes call it like ditto. This is a ditto of this. It is not like this. Here there is only one thing. Reality is one alone. So only one consciousness, that is Brahman. And from the standpoint of Vyashti Upadhi, this same Brahman is called Jiva. And from the standpoint of Samashti Upadhi, well, Maya Upadhi, we call it as a Chaitanya. And that is, that Ishvara is called, that Chaitanya is called Ishvara, whose cosmic order, well, covers everything. When Samashti comes, it covers everything, our mind, senses, our thoughts, everything, up to ego. Up to ego, everything is Ishvara. No, Swamiji, ego is Ishvara or ego is Brahman? Ego is Ishvara and ego is Brahman. Both are correct. Both are correct. So that is how. And the Sukshma Sharira is a Ishvara or Sukshma Sharira is a Brahman? Tell me before you go ahead. Sthula Sharira is Brahman or Sthula Sharira is Ishvara? Both are correct. Both are correct. From the standpoint of the Samashti Upadhi, this is Ishvara, right? Because whatever material is there is what? Ishvara. Ishvara is a abhinna nimitta upadana karanam, maker and material of this. Therefore this is Ishvara. And then same way Sukshma Sharira also is Ishvara. Because Maya alone manifests 5 elements and then all. But Maya is non-separate from Brahman, that is Ishvara. And from Ishvara alone manifests in the form of 5 elements, 3 gunas and 5 elements and then everything. So up to Ahankara, everything is Ishvara. But if you keep away the Samashti Upadhi, keep away the Maya, take only Brahman, well, you say I am Brahman. Sukshma Sharira is Brahman. Sthula Sharira is Brahman. Thought is Brahman. Ego is Brahman. Everything is Brahman. But I want to include name and form. Okay, Ishvara. Include all names and forms. Ultimately, no difference between this Upadhi and this Upadhi. What is the difference? No difference. No, but this is conscious. Yeah, okay. Sukshma Sharira is there. Sukshma Sharira is there, but Sukshma Sharira is what? Elements? Or something else? No, elements. Fine. Include. That's a vision of wholeness. And this division is a dangerous thing. This is very dangerous. Avidya is that way. I mean, don't hate. I'm telling you. This avidya is nothing but ultimately Maya. But then this creates just a notion. You are different, I am different. All negative feelings has a basis in this Dvaita Buddhi. It may be Irsha, it may be anything. Jealousy, it may be competition, it may be something else. Or it may be anger. Or it may be something lustful, whatever. Something different from you, that is the basis. You are different, I am different. Our object is different, creation is different, I am different. World is different, I am different. That has the basis for all kinds of calamities, which is not a reality. The division has been created through this Upadhi. And Upadhi cannot create. Even so, how? Even one clay, when in the form of a different, pots and pans and other things, I mean jars and everything, you find there are several things. And each one is different from other. Essentially, it is one thing alone. But Upadhi, the name and form, always creates this. Creates in that kind of a division which is not real. As though division. It cannot create division because it is Mithya. Mithya cannot create a division in Satyam. And therefore Maya cannot create any division in Brahman. It cannot divide into 3 parts. Jeev, Jagat and Ishvara. Maya makes you appear. Through Maya, it appears that all the 3 are different. That's how Dvaita is a purely notion. It's purely notional thing. Anyway, so the relationship between this consciousness or this cosmos or the Samashti, Upadhi, is, as I told you, up to Ahankara, it is pervading. So for Jnani, whenever he is alive, a person, and then he sees ego as a Ishvara. He sees Sukshma Sharira as a Ishvara. He sees every thought as a Ishvara, including the thought of depression. Suppose he gets. Suppose he doesn't get. But thought of fear, I have given you the idea. Thought of fear, it may appear. Don't think that way. Because of past vasanas, it just appears and goes. But it may appear. Suppose in the past he was afraid of something, and it may appear. Even after Jnanam. Don't think Jnani means something on a very high pedestal or something above everything. Pahunch gaya Atma. No, aisa nahi. He's right, he does all Vyavara like us. In his vision there is a Ishvara. There is no Jiva. That's a big difference. All the time Ishvara there is. So Jagat also Ishvara, his thought is Ishvara, his body is Ishvara, he says everything is Ishvara. Everything is his order. He says that way. Everything is order. And that is what is the relationship between this Samashti Upadhi and this consciousness? Well, it's a relationship of Satyam and Mithya. And therefore, Satyam, what do you want to prove by that? What we want to prove is Mithya is Satyam, Satyam is not Mithya. So entire cosmos, including the Ahankara, everything is non-separate from Brahman. And so Mithya is Satyam, but Satyam is not Mithya. Brahman is not this. Brahman is devoid of all this. When you say I am Brahman, you definitely keep away the upadhis. And therefore, in that case, there is no negative factor. Badhaka means there is no negative factor, negating factor for this oneness. Jiveshwarayo Chaitanya Rupena Abhede Aikye Badhaka Bhavaha. Abhavaha means it is not there. Badhaka means a negating factor. There is no negating factor, for the oneness between Jiva and Ishvara, because Upadhi is Mithya. Mithya thing cannot create any real division. If the Upadhi is Mithya, the division born of Upadhi also is Mithya. So through knowledge, you can remove that Dvaita Bhavana. It is possible. You can remove the duality which is purely notional, Mithya. And this Badhaka word is, we can understand that, like if you mistake a rope for a snake, then what is Badhaka? The rope vritti which arises in your mind removes that notion of the snake. And that is, we call it as a Badhaka. And the Sarpa is called Badhita. Right? Sarpa is negated. Sarpa vritti is negated, not Sarpa as such. Sarpa vritti, that this is snake, that kind of a notion is negated. That's called Badhita. And what has done that kind of a negation? Well, that vritti. Which vritti? Well, this is rope. That Rajju vritti. This is rope. That has negated this is snake. And therefore, Rajju vritti is called Badhaka. Sarpa vritti is called Badhita. And sometimes, this Badhita does not go. It will remain after Badhitam. So, after negating also it will remain. That is sunrise. There are two kinds of things. That's how we generally, this Rajju Sarpa example, we hardly, there is some need. So we have to take that example, otherwise we'll keep it away. When you say Jiva is Badhita, it is not like that all then permanently negated. The Jiva will remain. Less sunrise will remain even after negating it, right? So through Vijnana, through science, you definitely negate it, but still it will remain. You thought earlier that the sun rose in the eastern sky, and now you know that the sun does not rise. So that conclusion is Badhita. Sun arose in the eastern sky. That is Badhita. By what? There is no sunrise. This knowledge, there is no sunrise, that knowledge is Badhaka. It negates what? The sun rose in the eastern sky. Sunrise is negated. Sunrise, the perceptions of sunrise will remain. But there is a sunrise actually, that kind of a notion in your mind. Well, that is Badhita. So the appearance of the sun in the eastern sky in the morning, it will not be Badhita. But because the perception is true, you see the sun is rising. But the conclusion that the sun really rises is Badhita. Could you follow? You will see the sun coming out of the eastern sky, even I tell you, even the east, west, etc. is all Kalpita. It's just one space. Yesterday I saw one clip of Sunita Williams. She was saying when we are in a space, she was telling from the space station and showing everything in the space station and their kitchen and that and this and that. And she says, everything is one here. You may see here, she says very beautifully, here there is called, we are standing on our toes or our legs. And then if you totally, tilt yourself, then you say, I am standing on my head, doing Shitsasana. But in space it is nothing like that. She showed that in space there is nothing like that, upside down and nothing like that. There is really, from here, from our standpoint, there is a eastern sky and western sky. All is Kalpita. There is one space. These quarters, etc. are superimposed by the human being for transaction. Because somewhere you will have to tell that it has risen from the eastern sky and set in the western sky or something. So east and west has been really Kalpita in one space. There is nothing reality called eastern and western, etc. Well, anyway, so the perception is there that sun rises. But sun rises in the eastern sky, etc. That conclusion in your mind that sun really rises is negated. By what? What is Badhaka? There is no sunrise. What is the pramana for that? Science. Yeah, knowledge always arises through pramana, right? And therefore, basically, sun does not rise. That is through pramana called science. Similar, the conclusion that I'm having a limited knowledge, limited pervasiveness, limited power, limited skills, limited time. I am having a birth and death, etc. Is a conclusion that makes me stand against Ishvara. Ishvara is different from me. This conclusion is wrong, because being limited in knowledge, etc., or skill, etc., that is all quality of upadhi. There is a limitation of knowledge, there is a limitation of time, there is a limitation of skill. It is there, not in Atma. It's in upadhi, it's in mind. That is there. So, limitation in knowledge is not there. Don't say that. It is there, but it is in the upadhi. And definitely, dharma of upadhi or attribute of upadhi is in upadhi. It's not in me. That's a knowledge. That knowledge negates that I am limited knowledge, I am of a limited knowledge, I am of a limited time, etc., etc. That notion is negated. That is badita. Upadhi has that kind of a thing. That is correct. So if you say that is all due to upadhi, this limited knowledge, limited skill, etc., or a limited pervasiveness, etc., well, if it is due to upadhi, if you say, well, it is correct. But upadhi is mithya, and therefore the difference between even Jiva and Ishvara also, he is all pervasive and I am limited pervasive, and he is all knowledge and I am limited knowledge. He is all skill and I am having a limited skill. He is free from the time and I am limited in time, etc., etc. He has all power and I am having a limited power. Well, these differences are due to upadhi. Upadhi is mithya, and therefore differences are also mithya. So the knowledge does this kind of a thing, and that is, knowledge is called badhaka. So, negates this notion. Then that badhita thing will continue, like sunrise continues. So that will continue till the prarabdha is there. Afterwards, not. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.